All right, guys, here's this 1977 G20 van. I don't know a lot about these vans. I say G20 because it says 20, but it's 5 lug. From my understanding, a G20 is a 3/4 ton. I don't know. This thing has a 12-bolt rear end in it, and if you pull up a G20, it shows a 14 or a 10. If you pull up a G10, it shows a 10 or a 12. This one's got a 12. So not exactly sure what's going on with it, but it really don't make no difference. Friend of mine sold me this van at a good deal. Well, Tim Dixon, he seen my interest in it, and he knew that I would get it back up on its feet, so he gave me a good deal in it. I can assure you he didn't need the money. He probably just wanted to see me get it back up and going. So here it is. It runs and drives. You can get in this van, take off wherever you want to go. It's got a bad wheel bearing or something going on in the rear end. It's just got a little bit of a bearing noise. It's not a gear noise. If you guys know what I'm talking about, you can tell the difference just by listening to it. It's a bearing. It's not the gear roaring or whining. I've got a damn bee that just seems to really like me today. It keeps flying around my head. I don't know why it's not stung me yet. I wished it would and just get it over with. But so anyway, what have I done to the van so far? The carburetor, I rebuilt this carburetor for Tim some years ago. This new gas, the van set and it just broke down inside the carburetor. Now, the spray pump, the needle and seat, the float, everything was still good in the carburetor. The gaskets and everything came apart real easy. It cleaned up real good, but it just had some trash in it. So I had to get that cleaned up. Plugs, wires, new cap, new coil, new ignition module, all AC Delco stuff. Or at least everything I could find that was AC Delco. It seemed like maybe the wires were something else. I like AC Delco stuff. A lot of people like Auto Light. I like Auto Light too. So I guess I could sway either way. I don't really have a preference, but I order a lot of AC Delco stuff. I don't like the Chinese crap. Not to say I've never bought it or ran it. I have bought a lot of it, ran a lot of it. It's okay, but if I can find it or swing it, whatever, try to stick with GM stuff. But anyway, still like a lot on this old van. You can see I got new tires. So we went through the ignition, obviously. New tires. These are Nexans. Not that I'm a Nexan fan. They were relatively inexpensive, right around $100, probably $90 or something a tire on Amazon. Friend of mine mounted and balanced them for me. He does a really good job at that. New brake calipers, pads, hoses, just a ton of stuff. Everything on the brakes is new, guys, besides the rotors and the drums. Both of those were in really good shape. So the drums have been replaced, and obviously the rotors. There was absolutely nothing wrong with the rotors. Really good shape. Wheel bearings felt really good. I'm going to replace them anyway, just to say I did. Now, you don't have to do crap like that. You take those out, repack them, just clean them up. Or, stuff that's been setting, though, guys, I promise you, if you got something you've pulled out of a field, been setting 100 years, at the very least, jerk those wheel bearings out, get you a damn vinyl glove or a plastic bag, and just repack them with good grease. I promise you, it's not going to hurt nothing to do it. May not help you, but it's not going to hurt. These old things set here, the heat gets to them, the sun, and that old grease just kind of seeps out here or there. It ain't going to hurt a damn thing just to put some new grease in there. So, still a long way to go. We've replaced the fuel hoses on the tank, fuel filter, just a whole bunch of crap. So here's a new oil pan gasket, new timing chain cover and seal. Again, this van, it does not leak a drop of oil. It hasn't even offered to leak a drop of oil. So I hate to start messing with it, but this thing's been sitting 100 years. Once you get it out on the road and you start putting pressure on it, like I plan on doing, I plan on driving this thing to the rod run. So you're looking at least a 2-hour drive. This van's been sitting on its ass for a long time. So once I get it out here and start stretching its legs, little things are going to start to show themselves. I promise you guys, I promise you're going to start having issues. When you go buy one of these old cars or trucks, somebody's jerked out of a field and they've got them running and they say, oh, yeah, it's a good one, and then you start driving it, you're going to start noticing a whole bunch of little issues. These old parts, they dry out, they weather, they just age, guys. You know, time gets to everything eventually. So I'm just going to go ahead and replace it. I don't want no bullshit. I want to be able to get in and go. I want to be able to depend on it and not worry about it. I hate driving something and being worried about it, worrying myself to death. Am I going to get there? Am I going to have this problem? Am I going to have that problem? And don't get me wrong. You can replace everything on something with some of this new stuff. Still have issues. But I try to take every precaution. I don't want to be mad at myself. So if something tears up, I can be mad at Rock Auto or AC Delco or whoever the hell, my parts manufacturers, Felpro, whatever. So new one-piece oil pan gasket, timing chain cover and seal. I've got rear main seals. I've got some valves ticking just a little bit. I'm going to try to adjust those. I may have a lifter down or two. I don't know. It runs really good. It doesn't miss. But it's been setting a long time, so I may have a lifter or two that's bad. If I do, may go ahead and just put me a little small cam in it and lifter set. But that will be the last thing on my agenda is that engine. I'm going to let it run some more. And then, you know, once I get everything else done, I'll jump on it and do my gaskets. If I have to put a cam and lifter set in, I will. I don't think I will. I think just adjusting them will be fine. But anyway, so like I said, I've got the rear main seals over here, so I've got all that. That's all I need. I don't have intake gaskets if I got to put a cam and lifters set in it, but that's not a big deal. So upper and lower radiator hoses. These do not look very old. They're soft. Again, guys, I don't want no bullshit, and I don't want to blame myself if I get heading up Wares Valley at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning and a damn radiator hose blow. I'm going to be very upset with myself that I didn't spend $15 and buy another radiator hose. This radiator, brass and copper, really good shape. Doesn't look like it's rotted. It's not leaking. It's doing good. This van has sat and idled for quite some time. I've drove it up and down the road. No leaks. But again, you take 2 hours of, good pressure on that radiator, it might find a leak. So I may go ahead and put a radiator in it. See my rear end cover gasket. This is one thing about Rock Auto, guys. When you order Rock Auto stuff, it's going to be all kind of mixed up. It's just going to kind of trickle in. You'll get some this day, some the next day. So rear end cover gasket, still waiting on my rear end kit. So I've got pinion bearings, axle bearings, every bearing in the rear end, every seal to reseal and put new bearings in the rear end. I've got it coming. There's my flywheel. This one's got some, it just jerks, when you're letting off the clutch. I can't think of the word. It's been a long day, guys. I've worked 6 days last week. I'm working 6 days this week, and I don't get a lot of sleep. So here's a new fuel pump. Tim and somebody put a new fuel pump on this van, but it's been setting for a little while. Now, $30. It's brand new. I can get this van on lift, throw that fuel pump on it in 25, 30 minutes probably, and it's worth that for peace of mind. When I drive this thing, I will have a small little set of tools and probably take this fuel pump, this water pump, all the parts I'm taking off of it that are good. There's nothing wrong with them. Like I said, they're just aged. I will throw them in a box of some sort, and if I tear up, I've got something that will get me on down the road. So I'll take that with me and a few wrenches and sockets and ratchets and pliers and screwdrivers and cutters. Whatever I think I might need on the side of the road, I'll throw it in a little tote and set it back here in the corner somewhere. Take it with me. This belt, that's a new belt. It's the only belt on the van. It doesn't have power steering. I'm thinking about putting power steering on it. Another real good friend of mine, he's got a low-mile G30. I think it's a G30. It's like a ton. Little camper, Chevy van camper. It's got power steering and a tilt column, so I may go rob all that out of that thing and use it in this one. I don't know just yet. But anyway, you see my new water pump. There's the belt. 4 new shocks, new clutch kit. That's a clutch, pressure plate, throw-out bearing. There's 2 inner or outer tie rods. Now this one particular universal joint came out of that box over there. So it came in yesterday. This box came in today. So that makes 3. I believe the van's got 3 universal joints. That's a blower motor on the bottom. Transmission mount. That's a brand new alternator. Nothing wrong with the alternator on this van. It charges. It does fine. Again, when I drive stuff, I drive it. I'm not picking at Mr. PIB, but he used to drive his stuff quite often. But, you know, he likes to pull them out and drive them around the neighborhood, drive them around locally, and piddle with them. Hey, that's cool. If I was doing that, I would not be concerned with changing that alternator because it is good. There's nothing wrong with it. But on a 2 or 3 hour trip, little stuff like that, guys, can really be a pain in your ass when you're sitting on the side of the highway trying to thumb a ride or, you know, phone a friend or something trying to come give you some help. So that's another thing I'll take with me. If you got some old stuff like this, guys, just a little helpful hint. If you're going on a trip, if you've got old parts that you've took off that are good, nothing wrong with throwing those parts in a little box. You know, of course, I've got a van here, but you can find you a box to put in your trunk, throw your water pump, an alternator, a belt or two, an ignition module, a coil, and that goes for any of you guys with this older stuff that's got the old 12-volt coils, 6-volt coils. Stuff like that, you're not going to be able to find at these parts stores anymore, I promise you. I've had to order so much stuff here lately. Most of the time, AutoZone or O'Reilly's and them, they don't have it. I'm having to order it. So if you've got some of this old stuff and you're going on a long trip, now if you're driving around local, not a big deal. Call you a tow truck, you know, pay a little small record bill to get home or phone a friend, you know, like I said. Not a big deal, but if I'm up on the side of Damn Warner's Valley, I don't want to be calling a friend to drag a trailer all the way from Decatur up to Pigeon Forge just to haul me home when I could take a few parts with me, enough to get me back on the road and get me back to the house, hopefully. So anyway, like I said, get you a few old parts. If you have to, go to AutoZone. Order you some new stuff if you're going on a trip. This might sound bad of me, but just a hint. You know, again, I've got parts here that I take with me. It's not something I typically do, but you could go buy some parts, take them with you. When you get back from your trip, if you don't use them, take them back to AutoZone. I'd rather have it and not need it as I would to need it and not have it on the side of the road out here somewhere, especially in 100 degrees. So anyways, I say all that to say this, guys. If you're on a big, long trip and something old like this, the way the parts stores are getting, as hard as it is to get parts for this stuff, take some extra parts with you. It's not going to hurt a damn thing. Now, if you've got a really nice car and a small trunk, hey, at least grab a belt, you know, just little small things. I'm not saying you got to carry an extra damn motor back here, but just a few little things. You never know. Maybe you need it, maybe you won't. But anyway, I'm going to shut up. Now, I ended up with 2 thermostats. I don't know why. These are both 180-degree thermostats. Speaking of which, I like a 180-degree thermostat. Your heat is hot enough, and to me it is. And these small blocks seem to act right. So anyway, 160 is fine, but I like the 180, especially as it's getting closer to winter. So there's a pitman arm. What is that? That is okay, so that's a tie rod end sleeve. So there's the sleeves, and those are either the inner or outers. I'm going to imagine those are the outers. So I'm still waiting for inners. There's my headlights. I got 2 new headlights. I was going to order amber headlights. I just decided against it. Like I said, I'm going to drive this van, and I want to be able to see. You'll have to excuse me. I've got the hiccups pretty bad today. So anyway, still waiting on a lot of parts, guys. I'm still waiting on my good valve cover gaskets from Summit. I'll order the 1-piece oil pan gasket with a steel core, and I use the valve cover gaskets. Same way, rubber with a steel core. I don't like just rubber or cork valve cover gaskets. Reason being, if you drive an old vehicle, that thing may not ever use no oil, but if it leaks the least little drop down on top of the manifold, and you've got a hole anywhere in your firewall or anywhere, you're going to be smelling oil. So if you're driving down the road and you're smelling oil, there's a pretty good chance you might have a little drip out of your valve cover. Even if it's not hitting the ground, even if you're not losing a lot of oil and not having to add to it, you could have a little drip. So these are more expensive. You know, I'm talking like for valve cover gaskets, I think I gave like $60 for a set of valve cover gaskets, but you can reuse them. You can take them on and off as much as you want. You could take a damn impact if the bolt would handle it and run the nuts down on your valve covers. They ain't going to leak. If you over tighten a cork or just a straight rubber gasket, you're going to have leaks. So anyway, that's where we're at. Like I said, guys, you see here, I've spent probably $2,000 on parts, $2,500 or so, probably. Yeah, probably closer to $2,500 once everything shows up. But I'm hoping that I'll be ready to go. I can get in it, hit the switch, take off up the road. You can see that I raised it back up. I may lower it back down 2 inches. I was worried I wouldn't have clearance here, but I think I'll be fine. Lower that back down maybe. Worst case, I'll raise it back up. It don't really matter. 20 minutes. Each side I can put a coil spring in the front. It's no big deal. I break the shock loose, break the lower control arm loose, which is just your lower ball joint. And you got to watch the lower control arm grabbing your dust cover, but you take a screwdriver and just kind of, you know, guide it away from the dust cover on the back of your brakes, and it'll fall right down. These coil springs won't hurt you guys. Now, take every precaution if you want to use compressors, whatever. I've never used a compressor on no coil spring like this. Where you really need the compressors or like the, you know, the struts and stuff with the coil spring on them, coilovers, I guess. So you got to be kind of careful with some of those, especially the newer ones. They've got a lot of pressure on them. But something like this. Now, again, this is just for entertainment purposes. I don't want to tell you that and you get knocked out with a coil spring. There's still pressure here. So when I break them loose, like this one, I will break that bottom ball joint loose. The nut, I will not take it all the way off. I'll hit it with a hammer on the side and break that loose from the spindle. Then I will take a jack and put a little bit of pressure on there, just enough to where I can turn that bolt off. Once I get the bolt off, I will easily let the pressure down off that spring and it will come out. So anyway, there you go. I don't want to harp on that, but I don't want somebody, you know, thinking, well, hell, there's no issue here and that thing hurting them somehow. I don't believe you could get hurt, but anything's possible. So that's where we're at on it. Sorry for the long video, guys. This one's long. I really dread uploading it, but again, Mr. PIB had been on me about doing one, so here this one is. If you've made it this far, I really appreciate you, and I got a lot of respect for you. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one. See you later.